This is Robin on the Road, your concierge for all things travel. And today I'd like to take you on the road with me to Appomattox County, Virginia, and the Clover Hill Village. Pack your bags, let's go. On a recent on-the-road trip to Appomattox County, Virginia, I had the pleasure of stopping in at Clover Hill Village, a 6-acre living history village that was created by the Appomattox Historical Society and a team of volunteers and was worked on over the years beginning in 1991. The village covers about 1830 till about 1930. The desire of the Historical Society was to save several historical buildings that had fallen into disrepair and that there was danger of being lost. These buildings were moved from their original locations and reconstructed on the site by volunteers. Other buildings were reproduced when they were too badly damaged to be moved here. However, the contents of most of these buildings were brought from their original locations. The Vermillion General Store is a reconstruction from a photograph of the original. Most of the contents from the original are here, but the store was far too gone to save. The store and post office would have been a gathering place for the people of the village. Items would come in bulk: wheels of cheese, 300 pounds of salted bacon. Items were measured by bushels, peck, and quart. The cheese slicer would click to give you a slice or several clicks for more. The salt cellar contains salted and preserved meats. The original ledgers from the store are here and show what life was like. People would purchase on credit what they needed, and when your crops were sold or a farm animal, you would pay your balance. Non-payment was not an option, as word of your lack of payment would get around. All the necessary items and a few luxuries would be purchased here, and it's here where we begin our tour. Across from the store is the poorhouse. Dating back to the 1800s, the house was built by the community and used for residents if they found themselves homeless due to house fire or crop loss. Work was usually traded to pay for your rent until you were able to find permanent residence. The cabin was located at Dr. Clyde G. O'Brien's poorhouse farm and was donated to Clover Hill Village by the Presbyterian Church and restored by Tommy O'Brien and Jim Stamper in 1997. There would be no village without a blacksmith shop. The blacksmith was necessary for everyday life, to fix farm equipment, tools, make nails. If it was made of metal, the smith could fix it or create it. The Hamilton's blacksmith shop was used from the early 1900s to mid-1920s. It was moved from its location behind Hamilton's store in the town of Evergreen and was reconstructed here in 1994. A picture of Mr. Bell, the blacksmith and major driver for the creation of the village, adorns the wall. Today, Historical Society members and traveling blacksmiths give demonstrations. Behind the blacksmith shop are 2 recreated barns full of antique farm equipment, most on loan from the Dixon family. Across from the blacksmith shop is the Prior D. Martin Jr. and Isabel Grady cabin. The cabin dates to the 1830s and is full of items original to the house in the period. 12 children were born here. As I look around the room, I am struck by the lack of comfort. Life at this time was not spent sitting around, but working constantly just to get by. Even with the challenges, someone took the time to add an ornamental cut to the stairs. The clock belonging to the family must have been a prized possession, along with the china in the cabinet. The cabin, including the stones out front and the stone fireplace, were rebuilt here in 1994. The Hardy School dates to the early 1900s. The Appomattox Historical Society spent 300 volunteer hours dismantling the old school from its original site near Hicksburg. Everything you see, from the wainscot, the bricks, the siding and frame, were reconstructed here in 1998. It is believed to be the first school in the county constructed from government funds instead of use of a private residence. The older boys would arrive an hour early in the winter to chop wood and heat the stove and get a bucket of drinking water. The school taught reading, writing, mathematics, Greek, and Latin. Graduation was generally at 15, when a student would take up an apprenticeship or possibly move on to higher education or marriage. While it exemplifies the simplicity of the early education, it also demonstrates the realization
for it even in an area as rural as Appomattox. I felt as though I had walked on the set of Little House on the Prairie. Wesley Chapel is one of the oldest churches in the county, dating back to 1828. Old Wesley was built on land that originally cost $5 and was located about 6 miles south of the town of Appomattox. The church was the only one for miles around and would have been the heart of the community. In 1904, the town of Evergreen built their own chapel, and by 1906, Old Wesley no longer had a congregation, although it was still used until 1939. The church remained empty until 1990 when it was donated, moved, and rebuilt at Clover Hill in 1991. The church contains the original pews, oil-burning lamps, podium, communion rail, even the pump organ, which still works, and an outhouse out back are all original. The acoustics in the church are amazing. A photo of Reverend Purvis Martin is behind the podium. Today, the building is available for wedding rentals. Clover Hill Village is a reconstruction of what a small village in Appomattox County would have looked like at that time. During the 1864, it would have also contained a Civil War cabin for Confederate officers. This is a reconstruction of such a cabin. The county is famous for the surrender of Robert E. Lee to Ulysses S. Grant, signaling the end of the war. Sleeping six, the cabin would have been a luxury during the winter. A rake would be used to freshen the dirt floor and try to keep the lice and other disease-causing vermin down. Things to know before you go. Clover Hill Village is open Friday through Sunday, 10 to 4, April through October. A $3 donation is requested but not forced. However, financial support is how the doors stay open. The village is owned and operated by the Appomattox County Historical Society, and there is information on their site regarding each building. This is an ideal location for school groups of all ages. I highly recommend Clover Hill Village the next time you are in Appomattox County as a living history museum. For this on-the-road visit, I chose to stay at the Appomattox County Inn and Suites. The hotel is located in the town of Appomattox with easy access to the National Park, museum, and Clover Hill Village. The room was clean and quiet, and a delicious continental breakfast was included. Check out the Taco Wagon or Granny B's for lunch or dinner. Lastly, I would like to thank you, fellow traveler, for joining me on this road trip to Clover Hill Village in Appomattox County, Virginia. Please smack that bell and subscribe, and show me some love with a like or a rumble. And check out my latest video, a deep dive to Arlington National Cemetery. Until that time, this is Robin on the Road, your concierge for all things travel, and I hope to see you out there on a road of your own. Until then, safe travels.